Welcome, fam. This is MDFEME. We are a group of female physicians from diverse backgrounds who have decided to share our stories with you, our listening audience. We are real, we are honest, and we are candid about topics that affect all of us. We hope that our dialogue will dispel myths, change culture, and rewrite the narrative. Please visit us on Instagram, Facebook, and our website, mdfem.com. If you have questions or a topic you would like us to address, please don't hesitate to reach out to us through our social media, website, or our email. We listen, we care. MDFEM. Hi, we're on MDFEM. Everybody say hey.
Hey, fam.
I'm Dr. Kristen Scatliffe. I'm on with Dr. Emily Shay and Dr. Lubna Chaudhry, and we are talking about Match Day 2020. Congratulations, everybody!
She's gonna keep doing that throughout the whole time.
On my Caribbean.
Oh, she's frozen. She's frozen. Emily, are you there? She's frozen. It's the pad. The pad frozen. You know that, right? The pad frozen. You stuck to the pad.
Don't blame my pad. Don't blame my pod cover. Don't do it. Don't blame my pod cover, okay?
Okay. Well. And Dr. Shay, you're spearhead this conversation. So guide us. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about the match because this week is, I'm going to call it match week because now it's a week-long thing. But before we hit that topic, can we review in light of COVID the things that are important?
Oh, yes, no problem.
Please wash your hands. Soap and water or an alcohol-based sanitizer. 20 seconds.
Guys, the alcohol has to be greater than 60% content. Go ahead.
Greater than 60% content. Wash your hands 20 seconds or greater. Please cover your mouth. Sorry?
Happy birthday song.
Yes.
Oh, yes, the happy birthday song. Sing it twice.
There you go.
Or you can sing Outkast Jackson. That's what I'm
there
saying.
You go.
It works just as well.
Cover your mouth and nose. I think now they're suggesting with your arm.
Not with your hand, and then touch something.
With a tissue that you then throw away, that you then wash your hands thereafter.
There you go. Social
distancing. Yes, including the thumbs, like so. Get in there with the fingernails. Do all of
this is my favorite part.
I know. I forget this one. I forget this one.
I love it, though. I love it.
I always forget
it. See, washing your hands can be fun. Why have we not been doing this for years? Why is it a new concept? I don't understand.
I have been washing my hands. I just want to go on record.
Well, yes, but I mean, for the human race in general.
The human race, for some reason, has not gotten... Oh, we're all on the same page now. Good job. Okay. Hand washing, social distancing, 6 feet, people 6 feet. Okay.
6 feet.
Don't need to, we need to do the little elbow dab.
The elbow,
Or with the feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, with the feet.
No need to,
Wait, so how long are they saying this virus stays on the surface for? On an animal effect?
So let's review this. Okay, because I just sent this out, I think, to Candace and Emily. But on the surface, it depends upon the surface.
It depends upon the surface.
So if it's something like wood, it can be on there for 4 days.
Oh wow! Things
that have pores and grains that it can get down to, it stays longer. Things like steel and so forth, they probably a couple hours, but wood, 4 days, fam.
So the airplanes, they're made of that plastic.
Oh, hold on. So
no.
I'm gonna pull up the resource here because
the cloth stuff. I think stainless steel and plastic, it lasts a little bit longer because I remember there's a chart that's going around. I read the thing.
I wish
but
I could
it
show
lasts a little bit longer.
So for plastic, it's 5 days.
Yeah.
Plastic is 5 days. Yeah, plastic is 5 days. Paper, it's 4 to 5 days. Glass, it's 4 days. Wood, it's 4 days. Steel, it's 48 hours. Steel is 48 hours. Surgical gloves is 8 hours, and aluminum is only 2 to 8 hours.
What about like granite and stuff? That's like 4 days because it's porous?
Yeah, it's the
I would
porosity.
think so.
It's the porosity.
Okay. Wow. So anywhere from 48 hours, which is steel, pretty much to 4 days is everything else.
That's a long time for something to stick around.
Yeah, and I think that's without cleaning.
That's without cleaning.
Obviously, if you clean, but if you just like and then touch, and then don't clean, you're done. Let's like
she just
5 days.
Her hands, and now she's gonna touch all her stuff in her house.
Oh, by the way, I legit like I'm sweating because I went through my entire house and cleaned every doorknob, light switch, cabinet knob. Every high touch area has been Clorox down.
Good.
So
I said this last night and I was laughed at, but I took a little Clorox, a concentration of 1:1, put it in my glass bottle along with some Fabuloso because I'm Caribbean, and I scrubbed the whole house down. Okay.
Wow.
Let's just
1:1. That's a
yeah.
Really
1:1 is a strong ratio, and so like he's here and he says, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die. The bleach is so hot."
It's like burning his eyes. He comes in, his lungs are burning, his eyes are burning.
And I'm like, I don't smell anything. I'm Caribbean. We clean bleach all the time. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm in heaven.
Oh my God, can I text you guys something? This is hilarious. I don't know, Chris, if you could put this on but this is so funny. I sent it to Mo because he was like, he's quick care ICU as well. Right. And this is just so fun. I'm sending it to both of you right now. It's so funny. It makes me laugh every single time I read it.
What is this?
Oh no, that's hilarious.
It's so true though.
It's so
true.
Right?
It's legitimately so true.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So for those who are listening, it's a meme with Clorox on it and cleaning products. And since some of y'all went from DIY homemade natural products, that lemon stuff, all organic cleaning, to Clorox real fast.
Real fast.
And that's the truth.
With a quickness, no more organic.
Because I went to Whole Foods the other day and that aisle was full.
Oh yeah.
That seventh generation is not moving.
Yeah.
Just want to say. Somebody find that right now.
Look at the next text I sent you.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm not even addressing not addressing it.
Oh God. Okay, we're done. We're done with that. I can't say that.
I did think about I wonder if I should try and buy some stocks in this company.
Well, so like we're not financial advisors. Just want to go on. We're not financial advisors. Just want to preface with that. But now would be the time to buy if you're going to buy anything. The market's on the floor. I'm just saying. A couple of stocks are on the floor. I've been buying stock. I'm just going to say.
Oh dear.
I've been getting my position
up for the stock. House and I'm already freaking out because I took out the cashier's check today.
Oh my goodness.
My heart dropped a few beats.
Oh no. All right, back to the topic at hand.
Yeah. Oh wow. Listen.
Don't steal my joy. Just don't do it.
I'm not stealing your joy. I just want to say I found out today that disability insurance will actually cover, if you have good disability insurance, that is, will actually cover if you have to be out for quarantine. Found that out today. If you have a positive COVID-19.
Workman's comp will be covering your salary. So that's when workman's comp comes in for everybody into play for salary people, because now they're getting paid on workman's comp.
Exactly. And I think tax day has also been postponed by 90 days, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And we're waiting to hear about this domestic travel ban. We'll see what happens there. But
I thank God we made it here, man. I was so terrified that we wouldn't. One husband's here, kids and me are over there. I was like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, no.
I'm glad y'all made it.
Glad you got there safely.
Match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The match. For those out there, the non-medical persons who aren't familiar with the match, what exactly is the match? Because if you have medical people in your life or a medical student, they'll be talking about, the match is coming, or I have to do this for the match. Essentially, break it down, right? It's a process that determines where we do residency. So in school, we determine what specialty we want to go into. And then in our fourth year, we send out applications. So there's a whole thing. It's like you send your paperwork and tons of money to this entity, to an entity who then basically puts your package together, like your paperwork package together. And when you decide which programs in your specialty that you want to apply to, you go on their website and you click the button next to the program. And when it's time, that entity then sends out your application to these places. Then the programs will send you interview invites. You then dish out a whole bunch more money to fly to your interview, stay in the hotel, blah, blah, blah.
Did you guys ever have places that paid for you?
No.
I had a couple.
I didn't.
There's some that do pay for you to come out to them.
Yeah, so I think I had one that like covered the hotel but not the flight. You know what I'm saying? Or
okay.
Yeah.
Like that, you know what I'm saying?
Like some partial pay at least.
Yeah, not the whole thing was on you. Like they covered a little bit of it.
Yeah. I didn't have that experience, but to programs out there, this is helpful for med students, so please consider it. Because we ain't got no money.
Yeah. We're in debt from our loans.
We don't have money. So if you can help us in any way possible, please do.
Yeah.
So you go out to your interviews. Then once your interviews are all done, there's another entity.
Whole process,
Yeah. That you then go and rank your program. So let's say, for example, I go on interview New Jersey, Minnesota, I don't know, Illinois. Let's say those are the only 3 interviews I get. Those are the only 3 programs that I can basically rank. That's the process.
Yeah.
So now I'm ranking them based on how I felt about the program, based on if I want to be there. So if I want to be in Illinois over Minnesota, then I'd rank it 1, 2, and then the last one would be 3.
But that's not exactly how the match happens, because that program has to rank you. So yeah, you got to go. They do 1, 2, 3, and I think most people get their like 3rd through 5th, I believe.
Maybe, I don't know. That's
we
like a
have to get the
stats game that I don't play. I don't.
My 3rd when I did match.
I don't know how it all works. But then in the end of it, there's a computer program that determines where you go.
Yeah. So let me just synopsis the whole thing for you. We have 2 organizations. One is called ERAS and the other one is called NRMP. ERAS is responsible for your application, everything gets consolidated, so forth, okay? When you go through medical school, we do different rotations in different fields so that we can figure out, number 1, what we like, and number 2, to be well-rounded physicians, right? And so some of us don't decide exactly until we match, right? Some of us are kind of on the fence. Like I was on the fence between OBGYN and internal medicine. Do you remember that? And I was like, I couldn't decide.
Medicine. Yeah.
I couldn't decide. So I did both programs. So it's a really bad dating game. That's how I do the analogy for it, because it's like Bumble on crack. Because like, here's your profile. You have your professional photo, right? You have your professional photo, and you got your little profile saying, "Hey, I'm Kristen. I'm from the Virgin Islands, and I got this experience, and I did this well on this test." And then they're looking at you and going like, "Is she a good fit for me? Let's have her come out if they really like you." Then you come out, and then you're on the date, and you're like, are they a good fit for me? Do I feel comfortable here? And then you have to rank them. And they don't know where you place them. And you don't know where they place you. And then some computer program goes, how close is your ranking to their ranking? And then bam.
This computer program, by the way. Because it messes with your life. Really
The whole match program throws things into complete chaos for a lot of people,
also,
especially
telling somebody on a Monday that you matched and waiting until Friday to tell you where is the most torture ever. You already matched, just tell them and let the other people scramble and figure it out. Why make you wait a whole week?
It's yeah. And my thing too is like, as an IMG, all three of us are IMGs. We're all Ross grads. Big up Ross University! Here comes the pad. You're gonna freeze again. Put the pad down.
Yeah.
All right.
Freeze.
But we're all IMGs, and that's another point. You know, you can go to international medical school and still, you know, practice in the U.S. and end up with great careers. It's just a little bit more difficult.
It's more difficult now. They actually made it a lot more difficult in the years. So when we were like matching, we were actually graduating Ross at a great time.
Yes, we were.
Where they were accepting FMGs, and they actually like would look for Ross graduates because we had such a good like name, and the students were hardworking, and we were known for that, you know?
Yeah.
Now
SGU also had a good name too, St. George's University.
Yes, that's true. St. George and Ross were one of the top Caribbean schools that had great, all the, like, even when I would go to different hospitals, they would say, oh, you're a Ross grad. Oh, yeah. We know you want to learn. We know you want to do this. So then it was easier to match, or easier-ish to match, I guess you could say. Yeah. But when I left my program, which had majority FMGs and like minority, like maybe like 20, 30% American grads, when I left that year, all the new coming were all American grads, which was like, they were just changing it completely up, which I was actually quite shocked about.
So I think it depends upon the program that you're at, because my internal medicine program had a good distribution of foreign medical graduates versus American we actually have more FMGs than American grads.
Well, when I was in there, it was more FMGs, but then when I left, it was more American grads.
Oh, okay. I think it was still the same distribution when I left fellowship. Like still the same distribution through the residency. So it depends upon where you are. I feel like New York, New Jersey, the tri-state around here is a lot kinder to the foreign medical grads than other places are. And accepts more of them. But, you know, it's the entire process is a bad dating game, as I said before, and it throws your nerves into complete rack. So, but, you know, as you're going through it, it makes you make some really big life decisions. Like, you don't know where you're going to end up. Nope. If you have a family, if you're married, if you have children, Lord have mercy. I could not imagine, you know, going through that and having to think of a whole host of other people and going, you know, hey, for the next 3 or 4 years, I'm going to be gone in another state. What is, you know, and so.
For me, that changed my ranking, what I ranked for me. What I did was, because I was getting married at that time, but then at the end of the day, my husband stayed in Chicago, I went to Cleveland, and it was a long distance marriage for the first 3 years, but I mean, it worked. What if I had like matched in like Louisiana and Baton Rouge when I went for one interview, you know? Like that would have been like, I'll see you every 3 months.
Oh my God. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I don't know how people do it. Some people, like, for years, you know, like they're that long apart. It's crazy.
It's a lot. I don't know.
And even when you do match, you know, some people get disappointed because, okay, so like when you're going through the process, it's a lot of comparison to other people. And I think this is a general life rule. You should never compare yourself to someone else. Your journey is always going to be your journey, and it doesn't make it less or more than another person's journey. That's your journey. You should accept it, embrace it, and take it as it comes, one day at a time. So some people got tons of interviews. Some people didn't get that many interviews. You know, I went on a couple interviews for OBGYN and for IM, and I was like so drawn. I was like so torn between two ideas, and I was like, oh, catching babies for the rest of my life, or going on to do a fellowship, because I knew or doing primary care. I was torn between these 3 concepts because I was like, I want to help the underserved, but I also want to, you know, do this, and I'm really interested I was all over the place. So if you're like me, don't feel bad. You still have time to figure out what you want to do.
There's still time to figure it out.
Yeah.
And honestly, you only need one interview. That's what I kept telling myself. You legitimately just need one, because if you have one interview, that means you have one chance to get, you know, to match somewhere. So obviously the more interviews you have, that it increases your chances. But some people freak out like, oh my goodness, I only have 2 interviews. Honestly, you only need one.
True.
If that one program wants you, you're good. You have a spot.
Yeah.
You're good.
So you guys are going to say I'm crazy. I don't know if you remember this. When I went on my interviews, I got a pre-match offer. As an IMG, that's a big deal, okay?
Yeah.
I got a pre-match offer to a program. I'm not going to say where. And I said, no, it was a good program, very good program. And I said, no, I want to see where the match lands me. I was a lunatic, okay? That is something you should never do. Listen, I still ended up where I was supposed to be. Don't get me wrong. It's
right.
Just, I took a really big chance. As a foreign medical grad, you got a pre-match. Like they were like, come, we will make way for you. And you said, I'm going to wait for the match.
Snatch that right up. I'll do the next flight.
It was insane. I do remember Dr. Wall, who's not on this call, asked me if I had lost my mind. She was like, are you feeling well? You said no to a pre-match.
I said no to a pre-match for fellowship, so I did the same thing. I was like, I think I'll take my chances with the match. And then after I hung up the call, I was like, what am I doing? Why did I not take the... But then I was like, you know what? If they really want me, they'll rank me high. And if that's where I'm going to end up, then that's where I'm going to end up.
Said no to them.
Yeah, there was legitimate. Like, she called me and we had this conversation. I said, you know what? I really appreciate it, but I think, there are other options that I want to see how they pan out. And as soon as I hung up the phone, I remember being in the micro lab where I was doing residency, and I looked at my attending and was like, in my mind, I'm like, what are you thinking? You have a spot.
I remember the phone call. And I was like, you did what? For fellowship, you did what? Like, are you feeling well? That was what I remember the phone call. We did it. Don't worry. We're not saying it.
Do you guys remember like your match day? What happened? Where you were? I remember. At least the second one.
Oh, I remember. I remember exactly.
I remember for both of them. Okay, 1 and 2.
1 and 2. I remember I was in the Virgin Islands. I was back home for 6 months because we graduated early, because like in Ross the schedule is off depending upon started and how aggressive you are with your rotations. So I had 6 months off after medical school and before starting residency. So I was back home in the Virgin Islands. I was literally planting corn and tomatoes in my parents' yard. That was what I was doing. I was having like a mini garden. And I'm outside and my mom was like, aren't you gonna check the computer isn't today the day? And I was like, yes it is. I was like, and then I dropped everything, ran upstairs with dirty soiled hands. Excuse me. And we went on there and I was like, woo, I matched. And my mother was like, well, didn't you get a pre-match offer? I said, yes. She said, so when you matched anyway? I was like, don't take this joy from me, woman. Don't take this joy from me. But I remember exactly where I was. I do. And then you have to wait days before you know exactly where it was that you got
it. I don't think it used to be like that. I think it used to be on match day, you figured out where you were going right away. And then I think it was around the time that we graduated and went through the match that they changed it. Because then it went from the scramble to the soap when we were graduating. So I remember.
I feel like it was always like that.
So for American grads, it's different. They have a whole match day at their school, and you get an envelope, and the envelope is open, and it tells you exactly where you're going and what program you're going into. Okay. That's how it is for American grads. For us, it's a different process because we're not. We're all across the nation, and so we can't gather together for a match day, or we've never heard of a. Have you ever heard of a Ross match day? I've never heard of a Ross match day.
No, they started doing it.
Now they started doing it after.
Oh, they started doing it after.
Started doing it. But I think, if I remember correctly, the way match used to work is when, like, match day, you would find out if you matched, yes or no, and you would also find out where. If you didn't match, then you went into the scramble, which is now called the soap, which changed around the time that we did it. Okay. So I remember
So let me.
Wait.
Let me explain to everybody what the scramble is, because
Yeah.
this is a part of the bad dating game. Okay, so let's say you're on Bumble, right? And you swiped right and nobody swiped right on you. And now you're literally scrambling for some place that needs people, but didn't get anybody that swiped right on them. So basically the rejects or those who didn't find their soulmates are now on Match.com filling out another questionnaire. That's
No,
okay?
no shade to Match.com. No shade to Match.
No shade. Just saying.
But this is
As
even
an
regardless
example.
of what you were going into. You just grabbed for anything.
Exactly.
That's what I remember
Like,
doing.
Going for surgery, but something in like internal medicine opens up, or in something else.
You didn't want to be stagnant, and you didn't want to be not doing something for a year.
Yeah, that's exactly the first match I went through, because I didn't match the first year. I don't remember getting the email, but I remember the scramble afterwards. So I legitimately took my personal statement and rewrote it for every specialty. Like I am medicine, OB I had applied for initially, and I probably did a couple other things, but I legit rewrote the whole thing and applied to like a bunch of programs. So that part I remember because I was like, I have to do something. I have to find something. And unfortunately, it didn't work out, but at least not that year it didn't.
Yeah, right. No, I had the same experience. I remember I was in Colorado doing my EM rotation, and I stayed home that day. I didn't even go to the shift. I was like terrified. I was like, I need to know what's happening. Opened up the email, saw that I didn't, and then the whole scramble process happened, which I didn't match at that point. So yeah, no, that was really nerve-wracking. It's like you're literally just like clicking on different programs, sending your stuff like to them directly with all like your stuff, and it's oh my God, it's just horrible.
It's nerve-wracking. I don't know how. I don't remember what I was thinking. I remember staying home the rest of the week, because I think the attendings on the rotation were like, okay, you go take care of what you need to take care of. So they were understanding, but
I
don't know.
It's difficult. It's difficult to it literally is a scramble. They should have left it a scramble, because that's literally what you're doing.
It's legitimately what it is.
You are trying to find something that will fit in as a preliminary year. That's what we call it, a prelim year, before you get into what it is you really want. So, and unfortunately, there's a population of us that have gone through medical school and have not matched, for whatever reason. Whether it be your step scores weren't high enough, or, whatever, or you've been out of school for a long time, there's different reasons why they, not matched or whatever. And, there are people and programs that are in place that are trying to help those individuals find programs too. Yeah. So don't ever lose hope. There's always, a way to get in. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I did, I worked for our school for a year. Year in between, I worked, which was great, because
in Jersey or Miami?
In Florida, in Miami. So I had some kind of income, which was, their thing was to make it relatively close to what you would make as a first year resident. So I had some kind of income, which was helpful, because loan companies are going to come calling. They don't care if you have a job or not. They want their money 6 months after you're done. They coming for it. So
Sally Mae is like a wife that doesn't, ex-wife that doesn't like you. So alimony is on point. She wants her money. She wants it today. She don't want no excuses.
Time.
Okay,
coming for the money.
And it's not just Sally. It's everybody now. You got to deal with Fanny, Sally, all these heifers. They're just out here for the. They don't understand. They don't understand when you're not making enough money. It's really bad. It's really bad.
The worst is when we went, like, we got federal loans. They were at their highest percentage. I mean,
the interest rates
7, 8,
7.5.
When I was
the interest
undergrad, it was like 2. How did it go up that much?
So
they come in for their money.
For the medical school students that are listening to this, and you're like either starting out or you're early, take the minimum that you can take.
Yeah.
Listen to me carefully. Take the minimum that you can take and try to pay the interest as quickly as you can, so that once you do get a real job and you're making real money, you can start knocking that principal down.
Yeah. That's a whole other episode.
That's a whole other episode.
That's a whole
Financial
There you go. We won't talk about finances. We will.
It's making me sweat. I can't.
There was a point that I had saved the student loan people as Heffido called me. I'd have like a blaring alarm, and I was like, oh no, I know who that is. Turn the phone down, mute it. I'm not dealing with these people today. I'll find a way to make that month. No.
Them loan companies, the whole money thing as a medical student or someone, just coming out of medical school. Oh gosh, I'm having palpitations because they don't teach you nothing.
They're selling your loan, so then the next 2 months later, it's somebody else asking for something, and you're like, what? Oh my God.
Person, exactly. You get accustomed to one company, and then here comes another one, and you're like, this is a fraud scam, and then they're like, no, we bought your loan, and you're like, what? And it's like.
Everybody wants a piece of you.
Everybody wants a piece, and there's not enough parts to go around. I'm sorry, I have 2 ovaries. If I sell them both, what am I gonna do? What else do you want from me? What else do you want? I have nothing left to give you. It's ridiculous.
This is so. Just to steer us back into the conversation, we've obviously gone off the deep end with the finances. But just to steer us back into the conversation, if you did not match, don't worry. There are things you can do in the interim year. You can figure it out. Okay, it happens to the best of us, and it's not the end. I mean, it's just going to be 1 year that you've got to do something a little bit off the track, and that's fine. Either a prelim year, or you working for, a medical institution or something associated. You want to stay in the medical field, though. You want it to be relevant, so that when they ask you what did you do with that year off, it reflects that you still have an interest, in what you were trying to pursue. So,
but the biggest is don't give up. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
No matter what happens the next year, you put your game face on, you apply everywhere, and don't be choosy or picky because you got passed up the first time. Just get it done. Get it done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to find a career that's going to pay you the amount that medicine is going to pay you in order to pay back those loans. That's why we're stressing this. You need to hustle, okay?
Yeah.
You do not want that weight on your back. That's all I'm going to say. No. All right.
Yeah.
So,
you definitely have to. Don't give up. There's resources. Talk to your medical school. Find, advisors. I don't remember having an advisor.
Helpful for you? Because I felt like they were not helpful. I was on my own.
I feel like I was on my own, but then somehow I found out about the opportunity to work for them. So that was helpful.
So in their defense, there is an Office of Student Development that is in place at Ross University School of Medicine that's designed to help you through these situations. You'll have to contact them, Weren't they in Jersey at one point? They were down the road from you?
Yeah.
I used to go over there all the time when I was applying for fellowship, and they helped me out a bunch. I mean, they're there, but do you know that they're there? If you don't know, then you don't know to use that resource. So,
exactly.
But I think that all medical schools either have an Office of Student Development or something along that line that helps you to transition in the event that something like this happens. So ask. You never know if you don't ask. Ask.
Exactly. Ask. Talk to your school. Talk to, if you're fortunate enough to know somebody who's in a field, talk to them. Pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
Do everything. Don't just sit. It's a time when you want to sit there and grieve, but you can't. You have to hustle. You have to get on it, and you have to push. And if you don't find anything, you have until residency usually starts July 1st, and some places will let you start a little bit afterwards. But if you don't look, you're not going to find those places. Yeah, and even if you don't find a spot, you have to find something to do in the meantime, be it work. Some people did a public health degree. They go and get another degree so they can add that to their resume. Some people went and did like research, observership. So there's stuff that
Right.
you can do
Exactly.
to make sure that you're eligible. Or
And it makes you
look
look like a better candidate. Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
when you go
Something,
again.
so I don't know if they allow this anymore, but like when the first year that we were to match, you can actually call the residency programs directly. They used to have like the number and the person that you would call. Like, I don't know if they still do that.
I think that might be allowed after the actual match.
It's
like in
after
that scramble soap period. That's when it's allowed. Like if they don't allow you to do it before, or they discourage it. That's how they phrase the word. They discourage it.
After the match, you find out you don't match, then you could call them individually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
After the soap week, you can do that, but not before. They don't allow you to.
Yeah. They want the dust to settle before you start calling everybody personally. So
yeah,
you know,
in a corner with cookies and ice cream.
Do what you need to recover. It's okay.
You do what you have to do. You do what you have to do. So the point is, there are people out there. If you didn't match, you're not the first, and you won't be the last.
Exactly.
I mean, and
there are more medical graduates than there are residency positions, which is very interesting in the scope of things. This is just our like a finishing like state. Yeah. It's interesting the scope of things.
The conversation.
Yeah, because my whole thing about this is that you don't have enough residency spots. You have a lot of medical graduates coming from whether they're foreign medical grads or they're U.S. grads, and you still complain that you don't have enough physicians to see the populace. Yeah. Something has to change, right? We have to come up with a solution. There needs to be more spots. You have to have more spots.
In my like program, we only had 6 of us. We definitely were doing the work of like 10. You know what I'm saying? Like we needed more people. They just don't have the money for that, you know?
Yeah.
I will not name the program, but there was a neurosurgical residency, a program that shut down, I think was last year.
Oh yeah.
And they had to hire privates to fill in the gap. It took 40-something mid-levels to do the work of the 6 neurosurgical residents. Imagine, okay? So there's a problem, and we need to fix it. And hopefully we can change this bad dating game into an actual eHarmony situation, right?
eHarmony situation.
But it was great talking with you guys about the match. And again, congratulations to all of those that did. And if you did it, don't hope. She's having a great time. I don't know what's going on. And if you did it, we encourage you to keep hope. You know, don't lose hope. Just keep trying. There are other avenues you can take. Okay. And if you need encouragement or you have questions, you can always reach out to us, mdfem@gmail.com. Our website is www.mdfem.com. And we're going to put up a blog post about the whole match and everything, and Frida and soap and all the links so that you can be fully informed.
Resources, for you all.
Yeah.
All right. Great talking to you. Have a good day.
Enjoy. Bye.
We listen. We care. MDFEM.